When allergies stand in the way, Allegra helps you break through fast. Get back to the moment with Allegra.
Okay, what's up YouTube? Back here again with another video. And today we are going to go hard on this entire build. At least we're going to try. So here's all the stuff we got, everything we're going to get started with, and we're going to try to go with like a blue and gray theme here, and we're going to build up the xhover Skyline. So there you go, the xhover Skyline by Ledrib. So we got that. I also got the GoPro. This is for the session, and we got the antenna mount for it that was listed on the site. It's out of the way. We're going to use this Foxeer F405. It's all-in-one jabber. This came in the quad box last month. I already got Betaflight 3.5 on it, and some, just a little bit of soldering done. We will use the cap. I kind of already have this one prepped up, so whatever, there you go. We've got a trusty Tramp. These are like my favorite VTXs. They just work. Tramp telemetry is real good. They got great reception, right? Can't go wrong with that. I just got 4 30 amp Baylor Heli 32 ESCs. I believe these were the Drone Drop branded ones. They're just what I have right now on hand. That's what we're going to use. XT60. Got an Axie antenna. Right? Can't go wrong with that. We got a Runcam Sparrow Micro, Sparrow Pro, whatever. And we got the frame to make it, have a full-size camera mount size, because that's what this frame takes. We got these skids. They're kind of used and beat up, but whatever. That's what I have right now. Purple tape to go along. Keep the theme going. Purple props. There you go. Now, what we're going to use for the motors, I ordered these along with the frame. These are the xhover 2307 2500 kV. And when I unpacked these motors, I gotta say, I was super impressed. I mean, that's like a silver motor, right? Got the gray wire. These things look awesome, and they should be plenty powerful. 2307. And I actually, and we got an R9 Mini, so we're gonna use R9 on this. And I just kind of wanted to save one of these boxes to show you how this packaging came. And this is a $20 motor. And this is how it comes. So you open up the box, right? You got your motor sitting right here, right? You get your package. So you get 6mm screws, and you get 2 prop nuts. But here's what I thought was cool. They give you a little prop wrench, and this was in every box. So, you could throw these around. They're always good to have. So again, for 20 bucks, you're getting an extra prop nut and a wrench. So I thought that was cool. And they're a pretty modern motor, right? You got the screw. Tolerances look okay. I wouldn't say the best, but they look pretty good, and I think the top of that motor looks awesome. Right, so we're going to use these guys. We got 4 of those, and of course we got the frame. Now, the 6mm screws are going to be no good because we're going to use these guys. So you need to use 8mm screws with the 4mm arm, and a millimeter for these skids. I use 8mm screws for that. But anyway, let's get into this without further ado. Let's start building up the frame. That's where we're at, and that's what this is all about. All right. So we got our arms. I did already kind of take a look beforehand. All right, now this is supposed to come with, okay, so we got a foam pad, like the standard xhover foam pad, but then it also has this stuff that's more like the grip, and more rubbery, sticky, because it has a cover on the front side. So we're going to definitely use that, but we'll get to that later. All right, we got our rubber grommets. We're going to need those, because those go for the flight stack. All right, we got one arm. Let's crack open these arms. And they also give you little foam landing pads. But again, we're not going to use those because I have the landing skids, which I like. They don't fall off. You could do skids on the ground. I like those a lot. So let's get those foamies out of the way. So there's our 4 arms. Now we also got in here, we got, looks like some stickers and a xhover battery strap. So I guess I'll use that because I'm going to try to put 2 battery straps on there, but we'll get to that. We got xhover stickers, so that's always cool. Pretty good packaging. I mean, this is a $100 frame, so it ain't cheap. But xhover, I had an xhover Win 5 a while back. I mean, it was one of the nicest frames I've ever had. And I've had catalyst frames. I've had, I got a reverb. I got floss style frames. You know, xhover, they make some nice frames. I love the chamfering on the carbon. So like all the carbon's got this chamfering on it. It's real smooth. Just feels high quality. And we got our standoffs and our screws. Now, if any of you seen my smooth operator build, this one should be nothing like that because that thing was crazy. All right, I'm just gonna put the standoffs over here. These mats are great so stuff doesn't roll off. And I'm also, there should be 2 different size screws. Should be like an 8mm and a 6mm, I believe. Or maybe they're all the same size. Yeah, I think all these are the same size. So I guess that makes it easier to decide what we're gonna do. Yeah, they all look the same size. Okay. So we got our camera plates, right? We're going to use those in a minute. Our arms, we're going to use those right now. Here's our top plate. We'll get to that. We need our bottom plate and our top plate. Now these are our, the xhover frames are already set with press nuts, so that's good there. And it's also set, I believe, for 20 by 20 and 30 by 30. No, that's not true. This is just set for 30 by 30, and then this is going to be your inner arm. And this is going to go like that. And I believe these rubber grommets are going to have to go in this hole, but let's see. Let me see what we got here. It's going to go that way, I believe. Like that. And then the arm is going to go like this. Okay. So let's put those like that. That That's going to go like that. This is going to go like this. And we need to press in our rubber grommets. Now between this and the grommets on the flight controller, I mean, there should be plenty of soft mounting. Alright. Alright, we got 2. I just like to pinch them, kind of pinch them, put them in on one side, and then just take a kind of dull tool, sort of dull tool. You don't want it to be too sharp because it'll just tear these things up. And just kind of squish the rest of it in the hole. And once you get to a certain point, you can kind of just pull it back through the other side. So there you go. One more. Alright, there we go. So that's going to be for our flight stack, and we'll get to that and we'll figure that out later. So there's your flight stack, and then there's your press nuts. They're going to hold the arms. So let's see, we want to go like this. I just realized, is it these are going to fit through this? There's no way. Oh yeah. Yeah. Alright, so we got 1 screw. These are going to be all 2mm. I got that the wrong direction. That goes like that. This is going to be like this. What in the hell am I missing here? That's gonna go. There we go. Alright. That's gotta go like that. Alright, just had it the wrong direction. sense either. Aha. All right. Wow, that just made me feel really stupid. Just trying to put it the long ways. Got to go the wide, kind of the wide direction. All right, there we go. All right, so you can see how that goes. It's got to. I was putting it the other way. Dirt. All right, let's get the rest of these guys in here. Now you got to be careful. The rubber, probably. The rubber's kind of messing with me too. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We got that. We're just going to drop these all on. And then put the plate on top. Because once you start to jam the arm in there, it just messes up with that rubber grommet. But there we go. This should work. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The price is definitely high for these higher end frames, but so far it's pretty sweet. Do you have it already? Okay. Now we'll just go around and tighten up all these screws, kind of like, I kind of do like a car pattern, just keep going around until they're tight. Like I said, the press nuts are awesome. They just make this so much easier. Okay, now we got that complicated mess figured out. There we go. All right on. I tell you, the Rooster is an absolute beautiful frame. I had one of those too. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. That's a good point. The Rooster and the Chameleon are beautiful frames. Armaton, they are top notch. I just didn't care for the way it flew. The style, the way that's set up, it's a little more, it's not really an X frame, you know, it's a more H design. And I couldn't really get the efficiency I had way less efficiency. I just couldn't get it to fly like all my other ones, so I tend to stick with these X-frame ones. Although this one has got that squish design, which, well, the smooth operators kind of like that too. You know, they all have little different flying characteristics, but yeah, the Rooster was sweet. I had a beautiful Rooster build too, but just didn't really care for it, so we got rid of it. But all right, so the next step we're going to need to do here is get our camera connected inside of here, because that's supposedly easier. So we're going to set this, and then we're going to set the camera. Let me just pull the wire for now so we don't have to mess with that. I'm just going to kind of check to see where I want my placement. Okay, now this will fit a 3-hole or the old style, because this is a 3-hole. I don't know if I could show you that. So you got, let me just show you the plate. So if you look at the plate, the way this is, the bottom groove will be for a 3-hole, and this back groove looks like it should fit like a standard camera or standard Swift, which has that back screw, the setback screw. So there is that. All right, I need my own camera screws. Let's see what we got. A couple camera screws. Cool. this. These are 1.5 millimeter. And the plate's gonna go like that. The lock screw. I tell you, these size screws that I have, I guess they're the screws that normally come with the camera. They just barely reach. Barely reach. I probably might switch those out later with something a little longer so I can get a couple more threads in there. For now, it will serve the purpose. Alright, so there's our camera, and you can see, ooh, yeah, these screws are just a little short. We could change that later. So I'd probably recommend like a 5 or 6. This should be this is a 4 millimeter M2. Probably recommend like a 5 or 6 in there, but anyway, again, so you can see where the camera sits. It's got some. It's going to have the protection, and it's supposed to cover it no matter where you are in your angle there. So let's see. You know what? I might not even be able to get that on. So you're going to have to get one side on. So one side on. One side. Because it slides over. Can you see how it's got a groove there and it's got a hole in here? It kind of slides over, pinches in, so the frame, well, the screws and all the tightness are going to pinch it in. All right, there we go. We got that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to change those out once we get kind of started. I just need these to hold together enough to get going. I can find the screws wherever the heck I have them. Come on now. Okay. We got some 6 millimeter, M2 6 millimeter, right? Yes, much better. So go with a 5 or a 6 millimeter screw. Those little short ones, they just don't want to do it. All right, much better, much better. I think the camera kits, I had this camera already on something and the screws are around, but I think the kits might actually come with a longer screw. These might be the screws that came with these plates that kind of hold them on tighter. So just look in your camera box if you get a brand new one, just try to get the longer ones, whatever you have. Or if you have like a screw kit, I would recommend a 6 mil. Give you enough threading. These screws are very small, you know, and the camera gets a lot of force on it. All right, cool. Problem solved. All right. Now we're gonna go and stick these guys on here. All right, have to squish that in there a little bit so we get the one on the bottom. That's a shame too, because I was gonna take this guy outside and do a live maiden, but of course it's like rainy and real crappy out. So I was gonna set these up onto my screen and do like a legit live maiden, but of course it's raining out there. It's all kind of crappy and wet, so we're probably gonna skip that. But all right, so we got the standoff there in the front. Now I know for a fact one of these, you see how this goes. One of them, the long one, get two sides of the standoff, is gonna go through here, and that's gonna help this stay on. So we're not gonna put this on as just yet, because I don't kind of need this in my way. We'll put this on last. But this is gonna go here, and that'll give you your standoff on the top, and then this piece will go through the top plate. So there's that. So press your long standoff into there, and I think that is it. Does one more go back here? There is one more longer standoff. I wonder if that goes in the back here. Although that looks like it would be in the way. Let's see. Because I'm pretty sure we got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this has got to go back here. Has to. I believe. All right, so I got the other one down in here. I'm not 100% sure if that's where that goes, but I think it does. Because there's another standoff that's going to go here. There's plenty of room for that. And then the last one goes up there, and then the 5 go back here. So I think that's where that goes. So we should be good. See how we got the screws there. And we got our camera in there. All right, all looking really good. Uh-oh, the camera just came loose. That's not going to be no good. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now we've got to start figuring out how our stack is going to sit in here. Because now we got grommets in this and we got grommets here. So pretty much, I think I'm just going to go with a full metal screw since it's insulated the entire way, and just put a plastic nut. Now, I'm probably going to drop the VTX back here. I believe, or maybe we can even stick it up here. Yeah, that might work, because that's going to go through there. Or we can maybe even do it just straight off of there. Maybe if we give enough space, let's see. Let's see. The standoff goes here. There's one of them also goes there, and then the other 4 are going to go back here, and then we have spots for zip ties and stuff. And this is supposed to be also 20 by 20. You can fit if you have like a 20 by 20 VTX, which I do have, but I don't think that's going to give us enough space. So let's see if I put this under here and give enough space. Yeah, I think that's going to work. And the way the Tramp is, pretty much never touch the button. I still don't even know how the damn button even works. And the lights, like the most confusing thing ever. Tramp telemetry is where it's at anyway. So and if I go here, that gives us like right like that. And then that'll give me the space to put my receiver right here. So where is that? So that'll go like right here, zip tie that down. And that should all fit fine. So with that in mind, let's see what we got here for screws. So I'm thinking we're going to use a pretty long screw. Okay, I think that's going to clear. See, it's probably like 10 millimeters, something like that. So through the grommet. Let's see if this even fits. See what we get here. Okay, now just even how that is. This gives us a pretty good amount of clearance already. So what I'm going to do is just put one little spacer. I'm going to try to find 4 the same size. Alright, so we're going to put a screw. I'm going to say it's probably about 10 millimeters. And we're going to put a plastic nut just to kind of hold that. And not go too tight. Cinch it down a little. Let's see if this fits under here. Yeah, I probably should just put it right here. I really should. Alright. Yeah, we're just going to do that. I don't like smushing it under there. What I will do is I'll put this we can slide underneath there because there's plenty of space for that. So I like that. That should work. Should give me enough room. Alright. And then this will also give me enough kind of space to, if I want to add something on top, there's plenty of space there. So again, we got a 10 millimeter M3 screw with just one of the M3 nuts. And then the way that this has huge grommets, so that gives us the space that we need. And I like to see it kind of, if you use just like the plastic nail, like these screws, you'll never get enough space to put a nut on the top of that. So I do need to get a female kit, like a female plastic kit probably help. So I can get like different sizes of these, like the nuts, but different standoff sizes. Because to be honest, if you just use all the plastic, they end up breaking anyway. Screws rattle loose. When you're using the metal like this, they tend to last way longer and be way more robust. Okay. And this is gonna go here. Beautiful. And that gives us enough space to put a nut on there when we get to that. get soldering here soon. Okay. So let me just heat shrink this. And this is already pre-bound and everything. So this we can stick. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Let's start with the motors. Now that we have this all figured out, I'm going to put the rest of the standoffs on, and then I like to put the standoffs on this way, just you know where they got to go and you don't mess it up. And then we'll start with the motors and the ESCs, because that's what's going to take us the most time at this point. Now that we know we got the layout okay, we're good enough, you know, we got enough space to fit everything. So I like doing ESCs on the arms. Like, it just gives you so much more room in the frame. And like a frame like this, you got a big fat arm anyway, so why not? Spreads the weight, gives you more room to build. Why the heck not? Now, I don't use Loctite on any of these screws. Probably should, but you know, I use Loctite on the motors, and that's pretty much it. To each your own. You probably should use the Loctite. It's probably better practice, but I tend to, when you got a frame something like this, you know, I just crank them in before I go out and seem to be fine. Okay, so we got that. We don't need that. All right, let's get our motors on, because this is, again, more time-consuming situation. Now, I generally like to use the M2.5. You know, they got the socket head. These are button head because these are all I could find. I went to the store yesterday and they only had stainless in the 8mm, and they had the steel socket caps in 10mm. 10mm is too long, so for now I'm going to use the stainless. I would prefer or suggest you use the black steel screws. They're just better, but in my opinion, stainless seems to, I don't know, give up a little easier. But anyway, so I got a little bit of Loctite, and we got our quad skid, and we're going to send that through, and then we're going to attach this guy onto here. I just kind of go loose. Get another one, dip it in the Loctite, line it up, and send her home. Now we can just put the other two in. Again, I like to use 4 screws, and I don't like to cinch it down until we get all 4 of them in there. All right, we're good there. We can send these home. And again, you want to do these, I tend to do them like a car, like you would tighten a car lug nut. Just kind of go around. All right. 1. Now these xhover motors are 16 by 16. So keep that in mind. I mean, pretty much anything current is going to accept that motor-based platform size. I mean, originally they were all 16 by 19. I heard somebody talk about why they switched, or why they thought the 16 by 16 was better. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. So again, we're using 8mm screws here. All right, and basically when you're putting these motors on, you want to make sure that your screw doesn't even come out through this part right here, like where the base is. Like, there's plenty of space there. I could probably put a 10mm in there and not touch, but why? When an 8mm literally stops right at the top of the base. So you want to take into account your arm thickness. These are 4mm arms. And then your base plate, so there's a 2mm base plate on there, I think. 2 or 3, and then a millimeter for the quad skids. You got 1, 4 is 5, and 2 there is like 7. It's an 8mm screw. It literally just comes to the top. You know, just you got to check that stuff. You do not want to jam a screw up into your windings, because you know a lot of people out there, they'll give you kind of some warnings. You know, like, hey, don't do this because this could happen. And they might be more warnings than anything, but that's a true thing. I've done that. I jammed the screw up into the windings, like on the older motors, you couldn't really see so well, and it just shorts it out. It's basically like if you, like one of your wires came off and it does all that stuttering and skipping and whatnot. So. Any questions so far? I know there's only like 2 of you watching. All right, one more. Alright, once we get these motors on, we're going to head over to the ESCs. We're going to start measuring and soldering all that stuff up. And if you get all the right parts, these builds they're pretty quick overall. Uh-oh. Oh no, we got it in there. I mean, if I wasn't doing all the talking and thinking about getting on frame and out of frame and all that other stuff, I could bang one of these out in about an hour and a half if you have all the right parts. Especially if everything's brand new and you don't have to like extend wires and do all that crazy crap. Or if you're using a foreign one, that's, you know, you save space using separate ESCs, but you save a lot of time with a foreign one. All right. Let's see, because these ESCs were used, I'm just going to kind of check to see where they land. All right, we got plenty of wire on here. All right, so I like to use some VHB and insulate. The ESC from the rest of the frame, because as we know, carbon is conductive. And this is the clear VHB. It's got a little less strength, but it's clear, so. And I'm gonna put it kind of close to the arm. So that's where the ESC is gonna live, and then we'll cut these wires short, and then we'll cut these wires to fit here. I like to kind of give as much wire on the motor as like feasibly possible, because you could replace these wires on the ESC. If you end up cutting them too short, you can unsolder them and resolder new ones back on. But the motors, once they get super short, I mean, you can add wires to it, but you know, try not to make them too tiny. I like the gray. The gray is super cool. I've never seen any other ESC, or excuse me, any other motor have a different color like that. I just love the gray and silver, for sure. Now we'll just solder all this stuff straight up, and we'll go into BL Heli and sort out the rotation. All right, one more. we'll go through and I'll just cut each one. I go usually to the ESC. See if I show you here, we got, that's pretty much it. But I like to go a little bit past it just to give me a little bit of, you know, a little bit of breathing room, because I really don't want to do this again and add wire to it. That's annoying. Alright. Yeah, nice and neat. Just put those away and keep those for later. So that worked out. Alright. Now, let's see. Let me get my cutters. Alright. So now I'm looking here. We got negative on this side and positive on this side, so they're going to have to cross. And we're going to put this on first. So we'll go here. And then this is going to cross and go here. And that's going to cross and go there. I like to try to trap the signal wire in there. I got we're using a TS100 now. I got one of these guys, and we got a 2.4 chisel tip on this guy, and I kind of already pre-tinned the pads. All right. Signal, and we'll cross this power, these lines over, since we have to cross them anyway, and we can keep try to keep that wire kind of protected under there. Negative can be difficult because it sucks up a little more of the heat. There we go. There we go. Alright, so I'll show you the one solder joint so you can see. There we go. And we'll solder up these motors. And then I'm kind of going to stop talking for a minute, and I'm just going to kind of plug along with the other ones, because they're all kind of, it's all the same. It's just making sure you get positive and minus, get your negative and your positive right, put your signal in the right line, solder up your motors, and you're good to go. And you don't need much exposed wire. Alright. And we're just going to go straight, give them a little bend. We'll fix that once we go to tape it. You don't want to crinkle those wires, we see, just kind of like a little bend. I know straighter would look neater, but I'm going to end up covering it up anyway. And I just like the fact that I have a little extra wire just in case, for whatever reason, you may need it. And I'm running my iron at 350, but I'm going to crank that up to 370 just to make it easier for this stuff. And we'll put that sucker on 400 when we go to do the XT60. And we're using 14 gauge for that. Cut the rest of these, and we'll get this all soldered up. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, I tell you what, when I first started, I did the same thing. I had a transmitter, and I had a FlySky T6, which nobody even uses anymore. There was a transmitter that was used back in the helicopter days, I guess, or one of their earlier transmitters, and that thing didn't even have a correct channel map on CleanFlight. It was a nightmare. But yeah, built one, got it working, and I flew for almost an entire year, drones and everything, pretty much an entire year before I got goggles. Because it's a hard decision to make. I mean, do you spend a lot of money? Do you spend a little bit of money? Are you going to stick with it, or are you not going to stick with it? It's a tough thing. If you think, but what I can tell you, if I can give you any piece of advice on buying goggles, if you have any, if any part of you feels like you're going to stick with it for any sort of amount of time, and you can afford it, obviously I know money is a thing, I would go with the HDOs. I use them. They're super expensive, but here's the deal. You know you're going to be able to get your money back. Maybe not all of it, but they're worth something, so you won't lose out completely. Like, if you spend $200 on a pair of Amways, not many people are in the market to buy Amways like all the time, so you know, there you got that. But if you only have a few $100, the SkyZone V2s, I use those for, they were my first goggle, like I got SkyZone, or Eachine 007s, which also work, but it's only a single antenna. But the SkyZones, I flew with those for about a year. So I flew a year, about a year-ish, 10 months, 11 months with nothing. Then I had the Eachine 007s for a month or two, and as soon as I got FPV on my face, I was sold. So I spent $70, and then I spent $380 on a pair of SkyZone, the V2 Pluses. And they were great. I mean, look, they're not the best. I had some fitment issues, but they worked great. If you can afford a pair of Fat Sharks and you think you're going to stay in this hobby for a little while, do it. If you want to do something cheap, you know, you can find tons of stuff online. I mean, even Fat Shark, their Transformer goggles, cheap, but I know it works because I have a pair of the Transformers, and they work. I mean, they definitely work. I think they're only like 100, 150 bucks, and you can use it as a screen. So here's the screen, right? Fat Shark, this is the Transformer, and then this pops into a set of goggles. So you get kind of like dual purpose. So what way are you leaning? You want to go cheap, or you want to go expensive, middle of the road, 200-300 bucks? What are you thinking? Because once you go FPV, man, I'll tell you, the whole game changes. Flying drones is fun, but flying FPV, that's a whole nother thing. We're having power malfunctions here. Hang on. All right. Yeah, that's not a bad. It's not a bad route. It's really not. The Amways are good. You know, you're gonna get a decent experience out of them. The you know, any of the Fat Sharks are gonna work. Like I said, I have HDOs. They're fantastic. For my eyes, it is another thing. For my eyes, my buddy had Fat Sharks, and I used his Fat Sharks before I bought anything, and I couldn't see. He had I think Dom V2s, and I just couldn't see. It was just fuzzy, straight fuzzy. And I tried a friend of mine's Sky Zones, and they were clear, and I could see the picture. They weren't super comfortable, but I could see the picture. So that's why I went that way. If you have an opportunity to try goggles out, and you're trying goggles, and you know you like a certain pair, any of your buddies, and price kind of put aside, my first recommendation would be get what you know works and what you can see out. Because if you can't see, it doesn't matter what you paid. If you can't see, you can't fly. You know, I had, my eyes are real narrow, so I had a lot of problem. But the HDOs, I took a gamble, and the HDOs are great. But I have the IPD stuffed all the way in. And, you know, not perfect. You know, they're not perfect. And you got to buy a module. But yeah, Amways are good. Get the V1s. The V2s are way overpriced. Way overpriced. If you're going to pay price for V2s, just go HDOs. Skip the bullshit. I mean, Fat Shark, you know, you can send your stuff back if you get problems. You know, that's worth something to me. So. And if you know, so yeah, that's your thing. Amways are good. Sky Zones are good. You know, you're gonna get a good experience. I mean, you can even get a good experience out of box goggles too. So it's just kind of a choice. It's a tough choice and very personal. But yeah, if you're able to try everything, try them all. Okay. And once we get all this done, and this is like the longest part. Once this part is done, we're gonna fly through here. I don't think it's gonna take very long. The only thing I have to do is I'm gonna have to get online, and I'm gonna have to pull up a wiring diagram, because on this board they don't have listed the where the S-bus and telemetry and all that stuff goes. So we're gonna have to find that out. Like everything else is listed perfectly, nice and clear, except for that. They have the, so I have to figure out which UART has the S-bus pad. All right, we'll just tuck those in a little. I haven't done a live stream like this in a long time. And I've been doing builds too. I built a rooster, built a smooth operator, built a reverb, built a hyperlight. I got way too many drones. Damn addiction for sure. So while we got the iron out, I'm going to kick this guy up to 400, give that a second to heat up, and now I want to take the time to figure out where I want to lay this capacitor. Of course, this wire is a little short, so I probably want to, I'm going to lay this capacitor here, I think. That should fit fine. I'm going to run the wire underneath, although I might have to change this one out. This one's going to be fine. And then we want to figure out kind of what we're going to do with this. So we stick this on here. All right. We got to come out the back. Probably going to put a strap here towards the front and a strap back here. So probably want to keep that pretty long, but I definitely want to shorten it up a little bit. And I want to get this stuff all on so we can check continuity. Let me put a nut on here so this stops moving. It sounds like you got decent enough equipment. I still fly. I have a couple JBF4s, which is good. I still fly XM Pluses. That's all I have running except for these new R9s. And a Mach 2 is also a very good VTX, which you're concerned. Yeah, the V1s are good. Everybody knows they're a decent goggle. All right, let's see what I want to do here. I want to this going. I'm gonna run that way with it. So this is 14 gauge. I really don't see the need for 12 gauge. 12 gauge wire is completely ridiculous. All right, if you're just joining, we are building the Skyliner, the new ledrib frame. Why is that not charged? Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out some power issue. right, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so yes, we are doing the Skyliner frame, and we are up to the XT60 connector now. You can see what I got going on. So if you jump in here in the middle, ask me anything about the steps we've already done. So we're just going to prep these wires, get some good solder on there. Alright, now once we get this all connected, we will check continuity. Alright, so we got plus on this side. Beautiful. Alright, now I'm going to fix this up. We're going to take off this one wire, put on a longer wire, and we're going to run one up underneath, and we're also going to run the receiver. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay. Now for the capacitor, it actually came with a different one, but it's the same specs, 470 microfarad, 35 volt. So, and the waffle caps, these things are great. They make everything so much easier. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna run this up underneath. And we're going to drop that right there. So the cap's going to go there nice and easy. And we got, let's see. This up there. Long one is plus. All right. So there we go. So we're going to run this guy, run these up around the bottom. So then it's going to get connected to here, and that'll stay there, up out of the way. I like to get like all my power system stuff done. Everything that's going to get connected off to the main power system. I like to get that all soldered on and then do a continuity check before we do anything crazy. And basically, this we're just going to try to get it soldered on without going too crazy. Remelting the whole joint. Beautiful. All right, now we'll do the negative. right, great. Awesome. So now that'll sit right there. Once we get the top plate on, that'll be good to go. Alright, now I'm going to turn this iron back down to like 360 because now we got all small wires and all that crazy shit. Alright, now. Also, I want to get this. This is the last thing I believe I'm going to hide up under here. And this is my R9 Mini. So we're going to run that up the front. And it's actually going to get connected over here. But if we do this. All right, let's go this way. All right. And then the antenna is going to go out the back. We can sort that out later. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm not even going to tape that down because once you get these antennas all set and that all soldered in, it's not going to really go anywhere. It's so small and light. All right, now, big thing that we're going to do here, most important, continuity check. This is basically where we're going to find out if we made any mistakes. So touching, we got continuity. All right, sounds good. Good. So now, at this stage, I'll turn on the controller.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Like I said, I already bound the receiver.
You turned me on. Disarm motors.
All right, let's plug this in. Where's my smoke stopper? And let's just make sure everything is acting accordingly. So this is the point where we can figure out that we made a major mistake and we don't even need to waste any more time. I could get my smoke stopper out. All right. So RDQ smoke stopper. What's a good True X frame? True X for freestyle, True X for racing, True X for what? Maybe I can give you a better answer on that. All right, let's plug this guy in. All right, all good signs.
Arm motors. Disarm motors. Arm motors.
Yeah, I don't think I have any
Disarm
modes in there
motors.
yet.
Oops.
All right.
You turned me on.
Regardless, that's a very good sign. We got power. Oh, I didn't put the receiver on there. Duh. All right. So we know our motors are good. ESCs are good. We have no crazy burning or nothing. Capacitor was fine. XT60 is fine. Now we can start connecting our peripherals and start figuring out that. Now, we got our receiver down over here. Freestyle, okay. True X. Well, I guess we can take a pause here before we get into that. I'll answer your question before we get into the next step. So if you see here, this is a squished X, right? Technically. This is the smooth operator, which is also a squished X, okay? This is a Hyperlight, or the floss style, excuse me, which is a stretched X. Okay, so this is more like the other direction. So I haven't really used, so hold on, bring it in. So this is the only true X. No, I don't think this is true X either. I think this is the closest one I have, I think, to a true X, but I believe it's squished X as well. So to answer your question, I don't really know. I'm looking on my wall. Everything I have is pretty much a squished X in, you know, by some sort of millimeters. But I think this one is definitely more squished than this one. I mean, if you want a good freestyle frame in this X configuration, at least, I'll let you know about this one, but I think this is going to be a good one. But the reverb, fantastic. I don't know what money you're looking to spend. This is expensive once you get all the accessories that go with it. So there's a reverb, great frame, and smooth operator, which is a little bit of a squished X, but great frame, very complicated. If you've never built before or you only built one or two, I might say stay away from this. Reverb's a very easy build, plenty of videos on it. Or even this one. But True X. I don't even really know offhand what freestyle frame is even in like an exact True X frame. But I like, for me personally, I like these X, at least an X, whether it's a squished X or stretched X. You know, that's open for debate. But that reverb, that's pretty close. The reverb is pretty close, and it's fantastic. That's a fantastic build that I have over there. Okay. Where are we at here? Let's see what I want to do. I need the camera wire. Now, I kind of screwed myself. I tell you what, I'm just realizing that the camera is completely upside down. So that's not going to help me at all. So I got to take this out and do what I didn't want to do in the first place. Oh, you know what you could check? Sabotage RC, Armiton's other little group that they have, or other little company. I know they have a couple frames that are a little more affordable too, and that they might be closer to a stretched X frame, or even the Rotor Riot CL1. I bet you that's pretty close to a stretched X frame. I'm just making sure that this plastic mount is nice and tight, because it was kind of loose. I don't want none of this crap to be loose. Alright. Let's put this bad boy back in here and we'll get this connected. Now this frame does have camera control, so we're going to try to hook that up too as well. Alright, let's jam that in. Get the screws. Camera's back in. Okay, let's see. Now this is the voltage wire, which I don't need, so we're gonna cut that out of the way. Alright. So we have our video power, ground, and video. Now the one thing I didn't really care for about this board so far was that the VTX and camera parts are all on the front. Here's my tweezers. So that kind of sucks, because I'm gonna have to run them wires over top. But the other thing is, the way this board is, you kind of have to check all your own boards. But this one has, if I can get close enough, see how it's got right behind the row of pads, it's got the voltage selector. So this has a 5-volt regulator and a 9-volt regulator, so I selected 9-volt for the camera and the VTX. So you just have to kind of pay attention to your specific drone. Alright, so we got ground, and then I selected 9 volts, and then we got cam, which is the video signal. And then we got CC, which is camera control. And what I'm going to do, I don't like to chop off these connectors just in case something doesn't work, because it doesn't always work. I like to add a little connector on there so I can still use the factory connector, and then cut that off. Or I can use the factory remote control. Alright, now for this, black is going to be ground. believe black is ground. And this can go to any ground for the most part. But we're going to connect that to the camera ground. Try to get that together. Yep. And then this goes to CC, which is camera control. Alright, and we can tuck all this in. Tell you what, let's put that standoff back in there so we know where that's going to be. So we can work around that. Alright. We just need to tuck this back in here. Cap goes there, and we're going to put the camera wires over on this side. So there we go, camera is connected, and then I still have my, so you can see camera's connected, and then we got our VTX stuff right along the side here. And then I'm going to have to pull up, let me get on the computer too, I got to figure out which connectors go for the S-bus control. Okay. I wish I had some better technology because I would run it around and get used to see what I'm doing on the computer, but I don't have all that fancy stuff yet. Alright, so I can see now TX4 is going to be RSSI or Smart Port, and RX1, so 1 is S-Bus, 4 is Smart Port. So these are going to run now up over here. So we can cut just a little bit off of that. And now I'm going to look on these pads here and get the right ones. So I know I need RX1 for S-Bus. So I'm going to find that. Got 2. Ground, 3 volt. TX1, TX2, RX2, RX4. RC, okay, so it says RC. I didn't even see that before, so that would be RC, which is TX1. And then next to it should be TX4, which is we're going to use for Smart Port. I have the wire, we'll hook it up, but I probably won't even use it. Now these wires I soldered on myself, so don't follow these colors specifically as far as the green and the yellow for what they mean, because RXs are, they're one way, the X4R, they're another way, so you just gotta check your own thing, your own directions, and get that correct. So I know I have yellow for S-Bus. RC, and green for telemetry. Which is going to be UR4. And then we need a ground and a 5-volt. So down here, oh no, right here, we got ground and 5-volt, or 5-volt and ground. So this one is ground. And this one is 5 volts. All right, beautiful. I'll just tuck that in. Make sure that's not going to come out. All right, so there you go. We got camera and our receiver. Now all we got left is getting our VTX soldered in. This is going to go that way. Let's see. Let's put this over here out of the way. We're going to use the tramp, and we're going to put it right here. So let's get some tape, and then we're going to use a zip tie as well. Alright, so we got some 3M, that 3M sticky tape I've been using. I'm going to tuck that in here. We're going to stick that bad boy down there. Alright, let's check the comments again. Oh snap, malleable. Yeah, I noticed my floor style, the arms are actually coming apart on the end. They're starting to delaminate. You know, it's a $40 frame. I'm starting to notice that, like, my cheap frames, they break at some point, and my expensive frames, they last a long time. Like, I have a Speed Addict frame from Catalyst Machine Works, Speed Addict 210 V2, 210R V2, whatever the hell it was. That thing still rocks, and it's still pretty solid. So, you know, there's things you gotta just decide with, but all right. So I'm also going to stick this guy on here to kind of get it going, just to see where we're at. So basically, this is going to be for the antennas, both antennas, and we'll see what we're going to do with the receiver antennas once we get to that. Let's just make sure this all fits, because this is important. All right, see, that fits great. That worked out good. So I'll put a zip tie here just to be extra sure, and then we're going to put the bolt on that. So let me find a bolt. And I like the tramp too because it has like a super long connector here, so you can put a bolt and still get plenty of, or nut, excuse me. You can put a nut on it and still get plenty of space for your antenna. See, it's actually not even in all the way. There you go. That's that super tight. And then this is going to go on here. Awesome. So now you're starting to see what we got going on. Now I do have a shorter antenna coming, but at least for now, that's what we got. I like to put something much shorter on here, but that's what we got. Alright, so now let's hook up our VTX. This is going to go right here. And for the VTX, we have ground, power, video, and telemetry. Now, most boards these days, they're giving you telemetry right next to the VTX line, make it easy for everyone, keep everything kind of in the right spot. All right, let's see what we got. We got TX5. So UART5 is going to be for tramp telemetry. And that's going to be this white wire. And then we got the video signal, which is labeled VTX. And then we've got power, which for this again is going to be 9 volts. Now some VTXs won't get to their max power with 9 volt, but I think the tramp is fine. And then we got ground. There you go. That should be everything. It should do it. We just have some of the finalizations to do, but if I turn this on, we already checked continuity and plugged it in. So let's see if I bring a screen in here.
Turn me on. Disarm motors.
If you can see that, leave a screen there. I don't know what channel it's going to come up on or what's going to happen here, but hopefully we can see, get an idea. Alright, so, boom. I know I got telemetry here.
100 dB.
So you see my telemetry line.
Arm motors.
We got motors
Disarm
spinning.
motors. Arm motors.
Alright, all 4. Alright, I got 2 of them spinning the wrong way. 2 and 3.
Disarm motors.
So that's, again, we fixed that in Betterflight. We got our video. You can see. So I need to fix or set up the OSD and all that stuff, but you basically are getting the point with all that stuff. So let's finish up the build and I'll do the software stuff later. Maybe I'll do a video of that.
Telemetry lost.
Like I said, I wanted to do all that live, but whatever. I'll do the software stuff later. Alright. So now we know all that stuff works. So let's see what we're going to do with this. Now the way this mount is made, it has like one going this way and one going that way. So even though it's for a 2.4, this R9, the way it only has a single antenna, but it's got these 2 leads. So we're going to stick one down the one direction and one out the other direction. And that should work. If I can see. A little hard to get up that curve. Now I think he set them up this way because Spectrum needs to be you know, a little more finicky. You need to have that specific 90 degree or parallel plane set up. But it's just still, it's a good way to set up your antennas for sure. There we go. Pick whichever one wanted to go in there. There we go. We got the antennas out the back there. You can see. And then we'll put forever tubes in there in a minute. This is all good. Just need 2 more of these nuts. And we're pretty much done. So we just got some software to do, but that's nothing. I like these kind of thicker ones because you can hand tighten them. Get a little more grip on there. Alright, beautiful. Alright, this is going to go like that. Alright. Now we could also decide for if we're going to use the rubbery or the foam. Definitely going to use the foam. I'm just going to give this plate a little wipe on my shirt. And we're going to peel it. It's a much better choice to give us this kind of foam. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't know if they're expecting us to keep that battery back that far. We'll see. Alright. So now if I stick this on, I'm trying to want to see where I can stick a strap or where they would, because I like having 2 straps. So I guess one's going to go here and one's going to go here. So what I'm going to do, man, I can see, you know what? I got plenty of space to stick those in there. So we don't have to put those on just yet. We got our antennas in. We know everything works. We're going to have this go this way. And I'm going to pinch this in the battery strap. That's at least the plan. Okay. Now you take the rest of the screws that came with the frame. And you need 4 more. Now if you get the GoPro, so if you don't get the GoPro mount, that last standoff that's in the GoPro sleeve, which is in here, so I stuck the one standoff in here, but if you don't, you would just stick that standoff here and put a regular 8mm screw here. But that came with a longer screw for the GoPro mount because this plastic obviously takes up some space. Oh, what the hell happened there? Okay. Now we're going to stick this guy in here. Alright, 2 more 8mm screws. And then, like I said, the GoPro came with longer screw. I think, was it this one? Yeah, I think it was this one. So it came with like probably a 10 or a 12mm screw. Just make sure you keep it. Bend that up. Put that in. And that's going to land on that one standoff in the middle there. Got a good crank. And boom! Look at that. Alright, let's add in, let's finish it off like 100. I got some forever tubing. Let's see what we got. Alright, that's definitely going to need a little glue. Yeah, going to need a little glue, but you get the point. So I'm going to put a little hot glue or a little super glue in there just to hold those, but you get your forever tubes. All right, we just need Velcro straps and we're good to go. We can stick a battery on it. Best straps made, newbie drone straps, although I don't really care for the yellow, to be honest. At least for this build, I don't want to waste the yellow. Put the yellow on there, let's keep it looking good. Alright, so we got the xhover strap that came with it. That one's going to go here. Then I got just an RDQ strap. That one's going to go back here. Try not to catch the antennas. Boom. All right, let's see what we got in the chat. Yeah, the reverb's a beautiful frame. I love the reverb. Very strong, very robust. What's the other frame you said? MQC Fusion, I'm sure. I see what you're saying about the camera pod, but let me just show you this, the way they have it connected. Like, it attaches to the carbon through those two parts, or there's two little slip parts there, but there's 3 standoffs that pinch it, that are pinching it on. So you got the one right here, you got the one right here, and then the one through the GoPro. So I honestly don't think that's going anywhere. Oh, and then the top plate also locks it in. So it's locked in on the bottom and then locked in on the top plate with a standoff right here. It could, it very, very easily could break off. There's no doubt about that. And it is sticking out the front, but it feels pretty robust. I'd be hard pressed to believe that being pinched so tight like that it's going to break off. But we'll see. If it does break off, I will absolutely tell you. There is no doubt. Alright, let's stick one of my favorite baterias on there. So basically all I got left, the build's done. All I got left is to do I gotta finish the software stuff, but we'll get to that. And gotta wrap up that antenna a little bit, put a zip tie on there. Let's see what we got. Got way too much wire here. Stick that, where See, these challenges, you got all this wire. Some of them are a little longer and a little short. It's gotta go like this somehow. Oh, we can just leave the battery back like that. So we go. Don't really like it sticking off the back. I bet you the props are gonna hit on that. So let's see. Might have to squish it up a little more, which isn't that difficult. Yeah, that's gonna clear. That's gonna be just fine. So if you can see, I'm gonna put those on. You can see the way the prop line is. It's actually a little bit below, and there is a little space there. So that is going to clear. Sometimes when you get these ones that taper back like this, they get a little too close to the prop, and the battery hits it. But that's actually not too bad, and that'll help with the CG, putting the GoPro at the front and then the battery towards the back. And I can also squish that battery up. There's so much space there. But that's the way the battery pad is. I guess the way they want you to put it. We got the wire nice and trapped up in here. She is good to go. GoPro, all ready to go. Just got software.
Arm motors. Disarm motors. Oops.
I gotta put the beeper and buzzer. So yeah, she's good to go. Little glue for the antenna.
Telemetry lost.
And 2 straps is where it's at. If you got a drone, put 2 straps on that bad boy, you're gonna be rocking. Alright, I'm gonna put a little tape on here and we're about to call this guy. Anybody got any other questions? I'm gonna put this, I don't even know, you know what, I'm not even gonna put the purple because I mean, there's a little purple, but we can just leave a little purple accents. I don't know. What do you guys think? Somebody give me, do I go with purple or do I go with black? Let's do it. Let's put a piece of purple on, put a piece of black on, and see what we think. Purple prop. It doesn't really match. Doesn't really match, does it? It's kind of ugly. I think we'll go with the. It matches the tape. I mean, the tape matches the bottom part, and the prop matches more the camera. I'm gonna put black on there. Put some black tape instead of this purple. Then if I gotta run other props, the purple's not so prominent on the top. So for the few of you that hung out with me for this build, or came late, or came in and out, you know, thanks for hanging out. I'll definitely have some video of this frame coming up soon of you know, flying it and seeing what we got. I was going to do a video of the F405, but you know, whatever. I mean, I guess I could do my beta flight setup. I could do another little video. Maybe I'll record it and put it together. All up weight, good question. Let's check that. Let's check that. I'll even put the props, and we'll stick the battery in here. And GoPro, obviously. Do I even have it here? Yes, I do. GoPro. All up flying weight of 653.9, so 654 grams, which falls right in line for the reverb, the smooth operator, any full-on build. My floss style is way lighter, but yeah, that's a lighter setup build like this, and it's going to go up. So you got 654. I got to put a little more tape. We got to put the prop nuts on. I got to put a couple zip ties and shit like that. But overall, that's pretty much it. 650 gram frame, not too bad. You know, that's a freestyle frame. It's a full-on freestyle frame, and we got some pretty hefty motors on here too. Think about it. These are 2307. There's some hefty ass motors. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm really liking the way this thing looks. Let's get some tape on, more tape on here. Try to cover up some of this red. Alright, so that's what it's going to be. Alright. Do one zip tie. Probably don't even need the zip tie there. Alright, so you get the idea. I guess, you know, like I said, at this point, we'll get to flying this guy, and we'll get to seeing what's what and how it is. So far, so freaking good. This thing looks so sick. little glue, some zip ties, and we are good to go. Stay tuned for the video. I guess I'll do a little something on that Fox here F405, or maybe I'll combine it together, talking about the F405 and this frame. So we got both of those things to try out. But there we are. There's the frame. Super, super sick. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the rest of the videos and some GoPro footage of this guy. I do have some GoPro footage of me flying the smooth operator, so that's going to be coming up, and that thing is sick as well. So I got some pretty sick frames these days. Thank you so much for watching. If you're coming in late and you didn't watch live, that's all good. Questions, put them down in the comments. I'll try to do my best. Like, comment, subscribe. You help me out, keep me busy, keep me doing all this stuff. Because look, who the hell, I love these drones. Absolutely love it. Love flying them. Building them, probably more than flying them, to be honest. That's why I got so many. But I digress. The ledrib special edition, well, not special edition, the ledrib Skyliner frame made by xhover. Links will be in the description. You can get it at xhover's website, which is where I got it. They had both of the antenna mount and this mount there. What do you call it? Rotor Ride store only had this and the frame, so you know, whatever, they both have it. Links will be in the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.